Martine, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, you're Skyping us all the way from Norway, but really what we're going to speak about today is something that affects us here in Africa, at home in South Africa, very closely. And that's the way that Africa is represented in advertising campaigns. Won't you introduce us to the Rusty Radiator Awards?
Well, the idea came from my organization, SAI, Students and Academics International Assistance Fund, in 2012, when we did the video Radiate Africa for Norway and achieved huge success with that. Where, Africans send radiators to Norway because we're so cold. And that was definitely inspired by Band-Aid, Do They Know It's Christmas, and the way that Africans are portrayed in the media and fundraising campaigns. I mean, you see the population of a whole continent from 54 very diverse countries being portrayed as passive recipients that can only be saved by the help of the West. And when we see these images of, starving children with flies in their eyes, helpless women and warlike men, again and again, they can do some real damage. So this year we will explore that at the Radiator Conference on November 17th. With participants such as Al Jazeera, the South African Ubuntu Education Fund, and Plan International, amongst others. And in the evening, we'll have our annual Radiator Awards, where we highlight both positive and negative examples of fundraising campaigns, really in order to get NGOs and the media alike to reflect upon, how can we do it better? So we award the Rusty Radiator to the worst, most stereotypical fundraising ads, and the golden one to the best and most inventive. And I guess what we really want to see in a couple of years is that we don't get any Rusty nominees.
Now, unfortunately for those of us back home, we know that a South African organization was the winner of last year's Rusty Radiator Award, the very controversial Feed a Child campaign. Won't you tell us a little bit about this year's finalists for that Rusty Radiator Award?
Well, this year we have 3 nominees in each category. And we, first of all, have some great ones for the golden. We have WaterAid that did a great job in putting issues relating to lack of sanitation on the agenda. And their video Man Ponds is very funny. It's a personal favorite of mine. And it's engaging people about a topic that they normally wouldn't be engaged about. And we also have the White Helmets in Syria. That I think is very touching without using stereotypes. And here Syrians are the narrative. And it does not portray Syrians as passive and helpless as the media usually does. And finally, we have the Solicitor's Choice for the golden. That really takes this complicated issue of child marriage and present it in such a different and informative way. With the Rusty ones, we have one very cheesy and very old-fashioned video called Aid for African Children. We also have the Feed a Child Yet Again and Bad Day 30, the fundraising video for Ebola that came out before Christmas last year.
Martine, I think Skyping you from South Africa, I know that this is certainly an issue that we are very passionate about, and it's so interesting seeing other countries getting involved in the correct representation of our beautiful country and continent. Why is it important to your organization that this happen? Of course, we're so grateful for the support, but it's so interesting to see that all the way in Oslo, there are people who are campaigning for better representation for Africa.
Well, the media and NGOs are people's primary source of information when it comes to progress and crisis in developing countries. And with that comes a lot of responsibility and power. And we see that they are not aware of this. And we're not the only ones saying this. I mean, politicians, writers, activists from the global South have been saying this for many years. And it always seems to come down to us and them. And we really want to change the way we talk about development and change the way we portray the single story. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, to our viewers at home who want more information about the Rusty and Golden Radiator Awards and perhaps want to find out more about your organization, where can they go?
They can go to radiateawards.com and also sai.no. There are now, still have the opportunity to vote for the Rusty and the Golden, which one you would like to win. The polls are open until Monday. So I would encourage everyone in South Africa to go into to radiateawards.com and give their votes.
Martine, thank you for speaking to us today, and hopefully once those awards have been announced, we can speak again.
Thank you very much for having me.